Yes, so today we're going to talk a little bit about not only our proven weight loss strategies, but what we know from all of the research that we have done over the years. So let's go ahead. I have to first here. Alrighty, so most of you are hopping on today and joining us because you're frustrated, you're tired of the cycle and you really want to get to a place where you lose weight because most people can lose weight. And it's really that maintenance part that becomes very, very frustrating. So this is really a big part of what we try to help people do is maintain long-term, because that's essentially what the most important part is. So first things first, I think this is such an important piece. And if any of you have worked with us, or if you decide to start working with us, you will see that we're very much into that, the mindfulness and being in the moment. So really, this particular slide is, first things first, closing your eyes and really picturing yourself at your goal. It is so important for you to actually see yourself there. And not only see yourself there, but do you really believe that you can achieve your ideal body weight? Or are you kind of going into certain programs already feeling defeated? Because if you are, even just tweaking that mindset can be so effective in your success. And the third part of the slide is knowing what your goal is. If you just have this idea of what you want and you haven't really specifically detailed out what you really want, you're not really telling your brain what you want it to do. So really think about these little things, because they really can make a big difference. So I'm just going to spend, sorry about the bottom, I think that will go away. Okay, I'm just going to spend a couple slides helping you understand why weight loss is multifactorial. And although I always want people to understand that it doesn't have to be complex and difficult, and I don't want there to be a lot of complexities to it. But we do have to understand that weight loss obviously is more than just lowering your calories and exercising more. So lifestyle habits play a big role. Sleep, stress. We are talking about this all the time because it really does play a big role in how you lose weight. We are at a time in this world where the world is toxic, and oftentimes our patients have to actually detox before they will start a program, because it really sets you up for success. We are in a state where hormones are kind of all over the place too, and that's due to either toxicity, it's due to our lack of sleep, our stress, gut issues, which we'll talk a tiny bit about. Our mental health plays a huge role, nutrient deficiencies. We do many different testing. One of the tests we do is micronutrient deficiency tests, and you would be very surprised how many people are nutrient deficient. And essentially it's because we are overfed as a nation, but we're undernourished. So the food we're eating has calories, but it doesn't provide us with much nutrition. And then there's the gut. And, most people, when they hear this word, it doesn't really mean much to them, but I'm going to help you somewhat understand that part. So when we talk about the gut is the foundation to the body. It plays a role in every single aspect of your health. And so I wanted to just put this out because the gut being, the whole digestive tract, the majority of these, massive ecosystem or organisms reside in your intestines, and that drives so many different systems in the body. So we like to think that digestive issues are just like bloating, constipation, diarrhea, things like that, but they're not. You know, gut issues can be food sensitivities. They could be anxiety or depression. They could be contributing to your fatigue, malabsorption, skin issues. Allergies and asthma are gut issues. Inflammatory bowel disease and autoimmune diseases are gut issues. And the reason I say this is because we have, I would say 50% of our business right now is working with people and their foundational conditions. And until we can get the body until we can treat those foundational issues, that's when the body starts responding to weight loss. Because oftentimes, if you have so many things going on, you know, your body is going to be retaining inflammation. There's going to be just so many other things going on, and it's kind of, you know, it'll be more of a challenge to really maintain that weight loss. So another just quick slide to show you that if you have gut issues, or if you have any of these conditions that are laid out here, you know, if you're having some issues with mood or hormone imbalances, inflammation, you know, brain fog, all of these things, once you heal the gut, again, I know that's kind of a generalized term, you start to see all of these things improve. And when you see these things improve, you just naturally start to see this weight fall off. So kind of keep that in mind. It's very important to just understand that there are other things that come into play, and you can't ignore, you know, you can't ignore certain things, you know, and think that weight loss is just going to resolve those things. Okay, oops. I'm going to talk about weight loss myths out there, and I don't know if any of you were on the last webinar, but I am going to kind of run through these quickly and then talk about different strategies that you can take. So we hear a lot that, you know, if you eat less and you exercise more, you will be good to go. And we know that doesn't work. You know, we've been trying that for, you know, as long as we all probably can remember. And so I think everybody knows now that eating and the more of these long-term habits are what's going to determine your long-term weight loss. Again, treating your foundational issues. Sometimes it can be simply getting someone to sleep. And we see this over and over. People are not getting good sleep anymore. And if you're not getting good sleep, your hormones your cortisol is elevated at all times. It is impossible to burn fat. So it is these little things that, you know, really you can think about, you know, in your own body, in your own life, what could be holding you back? Customizing nutrition, customizing health is honestly the future. And that's why we really do get into more of the specialty tests, because you guys all know that one program is certainly not going to work for everybody. So it really is getting to know what are your specific needs and what are you coming to the table with. So identifying those things really can move you along very quickly. So what you can try, rather than just really reducing and going on a very low calorie diet and exercising more, is find something that's sustainable. Find an exercise. It doesn't have to be going to the gym. Study after study shows that it does not need to be the gym. It can be just any type of activity that you can sustain long term. You do not want to eat below your estimated caloric needs. So that's where you get yourself in trouble, because your body will start to go into that kind of starvation mode, and then it will burn less calories. So if you are trying to lose weight and you're more like in that maintenance phase, you want to make sure you're not always restricting, because again, bumping that up actually is more beneficial. And if there's anything that you can do after all said and done, and after all these different diet programs that are out there, just eat real food and see what that does for you. If you literally take 2 to 3 weeks and you commit to just eating whole foods, I'm telling you, you will see weight loss. Another myth, exercising more allows me to eat more. I really wish this was live. Eventually we're going to have this more interactive, but we hear this, and I'm sure there's some of you that are listening feel this way, that you work super hard in the gym and then you kind of feel like it's okay to eat a little bit, more, or, snack or have a dessert, that type of thing. And it just doesn't work that way. And you literally can never out exercise, a poor diet. And so you probably heard this before too, but the success in weight loss is 80% diet, 20% exercise. You definitely want to incorporate exercise. It does so much for so many things, but it's not going to really do much if your diet is not in a good, healthy place. So think diet first, obviously. Like I had mentioned, there's really no such thing as running off. If you have a half of pizza, you really can't run it off, as odd as that might sound. And then also just really knowing and understanding how much carbohydrates and sugars you should be eating in a day. This is so important. If you can manage that, that should be an easy way for you to sustain weight loss. And that's obviously what we help people with. Fad diets work for everyone. I think you guys all know that they don't. I think we all want to believe. When I read certain things too, there's a number of us that, Erica, including on this webinar, we'll try anything because we want to see if things work. But at the end of the day, what might work for one person could be a total disaster for another. And again, it just comes back to knowing your body, knowing how you respond to things and what you're really coming to the table with. Because the keto diet I talk about all the time, just because it's so very popular. And some people, they come in and they're like, I tried the keto diet and I felt horrible. I cannot go on that. And so you look a little bit deeper and you find out that they don't have a gallbladder. Well, that explains why the keto diet doesn't work, because the gallbladder helps break down fats. So it's just those little things that really you need to keep in mind. So we, again, have many different specialty testing. This is just an example of one of our tests. We do a food sensitivity test. So unfortunately, we are in a day and age where, because we have a lot of toxicity in our body, we have a lot of hormone imbalances, and we have gut issues. Now food has become a problem. Okay, so when you are eating food every single day and it's in the red zone, like you see here, that is an inflammatory state. So every time you eat that food, and that food can be actually very healthy, just exactly like what's on this slide. But if you're eating it every day and not knowing it, your body is retaining water. Water's being drawn there. It's the start of an inflammatory process, which ultimately leads to chronic disease, because all chronic disease begins with inflammation. Eating frequently speeds up your metabolism. I would say this maybe applies to young kids. Maybe they can maintain their metabolism, but as adults, we cannot be eating every 2 to 3 hours. It literally keeps you into this just calorie burning state. You are what we call a sugar burner, and it's almost impossible to burn fat if you're eating regular, all throughout the day, even if it's healthy. It's almost impossible to burn fat. You know, humans were designed to really go periods of time without eating, and then when they had the opportunity, then they, eat a good amount of food, and that's how our body responds best to. So how should you eat, or how often should you eat? Nobody needs to eat more than 3 meals a day. That's a fact. Now, I think we got kind of caught up with this snack, explosion, and we're so trained to think like, oh, I'll have my three meals, and then I'll have, a snack in between breakfast and lunch, and then later, and then at night. I mean, it's crazy. So I would say if anyone is trying to lose weight or maintain your weight loss, you want to eat 2, maybe 3 meals a day, but really try to extend it, be 5 to 6 hours. So if you have breakfast at 7, then you wouldn't eat anything till 12. So make sure there's 0 being eaten in between, just water you're drinking in between the meals. Obviously, if you are a snacker at night, which again, for some people, you might be okay if you added snacks now and then. You shouldn't do it every night, but really keep snacks, low carb, low sugar. And if you are not familiar with intermittent fasting can be a very powerful way to really reset your body, reset your metabolism and your adaptation, meaning your body becomes very used to getting food at certain times. And so that's where when people change the way they eat on a diet or on a program, the beginning is hard, because if they're used to eating, carbs right when they wake up, and now all of a sudden the body's not getting that's an adjustment period. It's going to take time for your body to acclimate to that, and it will. I mean, it absolutely will. It just sometimes you have to kind of go through that period where it is somewhat of an adjustment. So lastly is, I think this is the last one. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So I'm going to keep this slide short. I think I got a little long-winded last time, but it is, you do not need to eat breakfast. It's not the most important meal of the day, but I will just leave it at this. Make sure that your breakfast is not full of carbohydrates, because that's going to set the stage for the rest of your day. You can do it. You can just do a little experiment on your own. If you are used to eating, a smoothie that's full of yogurt and bananas, and, maybe add some juice in there, or you do eat, say, toast with peanut butter or bagels, change that up and try a higher protein, or don't eat breakfast and see how you feel the rest of the day. I guarantee you notice a difference. So again, it's more of what you're eating that really matters. And I got a little ahead of myself. So again, the high sugar, the high carbs in the morning is setting you up for, a really dreadful day. Uh-oh, looks like I'm losing a little internet. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. There's been a lot of talk, or some, there's studies out there. Some people will say, oh, don't eat a large meal, or don't eat right before bed. What I know, and what we know just as weight loss experts, is you really do want the majority of your calories to be before 4 o'clock, maybe even 5 o'clock. We've gotten into the habit of eating really late, and so that in itself causes weight gain pretty quickly. Dinner should actually be the lightest meal. And if you are eating breakfast, again, just include some type of protein and a healthy fat, and really try to get the carby stuff out. So hopefully, most of you, hopefully you guys are still, if you started listening, you're still on. But we do have a couple of bonuses for you guys if you continue till the end. So hopefully you're learning something here, and let's continue on. So I did want to tell you a little bit about me just as the owner of the business, because I think it's kind of important for you to understand what my motivations are. And it really starts with being very, very interested in health and wellness from a very young age. And I tell a story all the time about asking my dad at, maybe 5, 6 years old, asking questions about the body and things like that. And he just would constantly, just make up answers. But I just had this intrinsic interest my entire life. I've dealt with my own issues in my life, and those issues or those experiences, I almost am thankful for, because it has taught me so much, and it has really opened my eyes to just not only health and wellness, but this entire healthcare system today. So as it relates to more of the eating and the food, I was an athlete. I was a high performing athlete, and I battled disordered eating as well. So I understand this relationship with food and how it becomes a problem. So just from an educational, I know this is my college years, so it's hard for me to find pictures now. But I received a Bachelor of Science from UW-Madison. I went to Mount Mary College after that for a master's in nutrition. So I do have a certification in integrative health, which is more of like the whole body and how food can heal. And I am very, very vested in gut health. I'm a certified LEAP therapist, which is essentially gut and food sensitivities. And again, a lot of who I am was driven by being an athlete in my entire life. So I have gained, I feel, a lot of skills and drive and passion just due to that. So that is just a little bit about me. So when we think about where we're at, and you think about, your relationship with food, don't think that you're alone, because everybody has something with some type of a relationship with food. And it can be either an overeating relationship, an undereating, a binge eating. And that's okay, because it's now time to just dig a little bit deeper into that. I feel that we all try to, suppress and just ignore these deeper issues that are going on. And that's why we keep having to go back to it, because we have to acknowledge it and we have to move on from it. So keep in mind that, digging deeper into that is such a powerful way to move forward, because, really the awareness is the beginning of a new way of thinking. So what we want for you, and this is all of us at Wayless MD, we are all very passionate about the same things, and that is, we want our patients and we want our community to understand the truth. There is a lot of misinformation out there, and it also is being, communicated within our healthcare system. So we are here always helping people understand what we believe from our perspective. We want people to respect their self, because if you are, I hate to say this, but if you hate yourself, if you are so frustrated with yourself, that's going to be part of the problem. So really getting to a place where you start to be proud of yourself for even just little small changes is going to help you get closer to where you want to be. Self-advocacy is so important. And I know I am actually very impressed by the number of people that come in and they understand that they're not getting the best service from, say it's their primary care, or they went to the doctor and all they were told was, this is what I can do for you. I can, put you on high cholesterol medication, or I can give you medication for your blood pressure. And no, that's not okay for some people. They want to know why. They want to know how they can help prevent that. So that's what we really try to help our patients understand, is being an advocate for yourself and in educating yourself so you can manage your own health. And always try to be, the best version of you so that, you can have this long-term health. It's not about being better than everyone else. It's really just being your best version. So I did want to talk a little bit about why we are different, because we are very different. And there's many, what is referred to as medical weight loss clinics out there. And we are considered medical weight loss because we do have a medical director and we do have practitioners. But we are the only medical weight loss clinic that is actually owned by a dietitian. So my background being nutrition, I take a much different approach, and I have a different business model. So we're going on 5 years, been open since 2016. Obviously, we are all about helping people eat better. It really is the foundation. But we oftentimes have to take it a step further and try to figure out what else could be going on. We develop all of our programs by ourselves. We are constantly researching, trying things, doing little small subsets of patients, seeing how they respond to things. So we're so good at this because it's all we do. A lot of these other clinics, they just have it as like a side service, or they have it, a nurse practitioner running, or a doctor, which, that's great, but they have a much different training than us. We understand more of like how the body works and how food affects it and things like that. So strategies for weight loss. So these are very important things to think about for not only while you're losing weight, but when you're done and you're ready for the maintenance. When you lose weight, your weight loss really should be fat loss, because if it's muscle or other things, then that is when people regain and oftentimes gain more back. You want the programs to improve your metabolic health. You definitely want to feel better, and you want to have improved vitality. How many times do you go on some of these little diets? Maybe it's online, and you actually feel horrible during it, and then you feel horrible after, because you've probably more depleted from when you began. So you want to spare your muscle mass. You want the program to be protective and healing to the body. It really should be simple and clearly laid out, and it should be measurable. You should really be measuring what you're losing, because again, that's where you fall into that cycle of, I guess it's along the lines of quick weight loss. The reason why we feel so comfortable with quick weight loss is because we're measuring what you're losing. And if you were losing all muscle, well, then we wouldn't be talking about this. But we know that the majority of our patients, and I'll show you, lose all fat. So our new world that we live in, and the program that I am going to outline for you guys today, the promotion, incorporates an optional integrative scale. So because of, again, the majority of businesses trying to go virtual because of, this new way of living and COVID and such, we do have an integrative scale that really connects with our app, and it's been really amazing. So keep that in mind if you decide that you want to not only do this program, but maybe continue sessions, because it literally can get set up in your home, you step on it at home, and we see all of your results upload into our system. So it's pretty amazing. So it looks at your body weight, your body fat, your visceral fat, muscle mass, and water weight. And you can purchase this scale on our website, and it's through Amazon, but it's located on our website, which we can give you that link as well, if anyone's interested in doing that. All right, this is a very important part that most people are not talking about, and it's very important. So when you look at these three pictures, you see somebody who has, so we're looking at different fats. So you have like subcutaneous fat, and then you have this visceral fat. So you see this person here, you see this fat layer here, that's right under the skin. That's referred to as subcutaneous fat. And then visceral fat is deeper in the abdominal cavity. So this particular person doesn't really have any. And then you go to this person who's at moderate risk, and they have a lot of subcutaneous fat, and then, but they don't have too much of the visceral, again, deeper into the, that line the internal organs. So it's moderate risk. Yes, they are overweight and probably look the same as this person from the outside, but it's a different story metabolically. So then you look at this person, and they don't have much of the subcutaneous here, but now you see this fat, all this fat layering the inside of the outside of these organs. So you can imagine that if this is your liver and your kidney and all of your vital organs, and you have these saturated in fat, these organs are no longer functioning the way that they should. So they are producing what we call cytokines. They're inflammatory markers. It starts the disease process. So I want to show you something in more realistic terms. But so visceral and subcutaneous. So this is, if you can pinch it, that's subcutaneous. Visceral fat is hard. So this is the dangerous stuff. And this particular person, you can't pinch anything really, because the fat is really deep in the abdominal cavity. And so this is causing massive amounts of problems. So this slide, I know it's not the best slide, but if you think about how just an obese state affects the entire body, this will help you understand how it does affect the entire body, and how it does, why it causes type 2 diabetes and why it causes fatty liver disease, because it's considered the abnormal fat. So again, visceral fat here kind of starts here. And then if you have fat in these, again, areas that fat really is not supposed to be, maybe it's in the neck or the chin area, that's going to set you up for cardiovascular disease. You have around the pancreas, that's obviously more of the type 2 diabetes. Visceral fat we talked about, and then liver, so you have fatty liver disease. So, it really, fat deposits everywhere, but the majority of the really bad abnormal kind of starts here. All right, so let's talk about, we're just going to run through a couple of our success stories and then show you some results that we have had with our specific 4-week program. And maybe some of you have heard about Pete, but Pete is a younger guy. He came to us, well, actually this is he's been with us for 2 years. Very, very, you can see him. He just was very poor diet, very, lifestyle habits were not good. He had so many issues from fatigue to heartburn. And he just, he was the first to tell me that he just didn't believe any of this was going to work. So Pete had literally really changed his life. he's been working, I mean, he's like in his maintenance phase now, but you can see just after, this was like 11, I think this was 11 months, but he started at 308. He's now at 217. Just in body fat in pounds, he went from 135 to 52. And then the visceral fat, which now you're all well aware what that is, he started at 20 and went to 10. So now he's in a healthy, he's at a healthy level. So Susan is, she's one of our VIPs. She does have a ways to go, but she has had so many chronic issues with, from her weight, such as chronic pain. Her doctor told her she was going to have to be put on diabetes medication. She has hypertension, sleep apnea. And, again, like most people, you're just overwhelmed. You're not sure what to do. And so she actually did very well as well. So she right now went from 257, she's at 197. Just in body fat, she went from 132 pounds to 80 pounds. I mean, if you can imagine carrying around 50 extra pounds of fat, that's pretty significant. The visceral fat didn't change much. The max that our body composition scale goes to is 20. So sometimes it takes people a while for even that visceral fat, we start seeing it because it's still going down. It just doesn't register because it was, in excess by a lot. And then here's another patient of ours. He lost 75 pounds, kind of the same story. I always say that this picture does not really do him justice because, it was such a dramatic change, but that you can see his before and afters. And then again, body fat, he went from 145 to 85 pounds of his total weight. And visceral went from 20 to 15. And then we have Dan, who I wish I had more time to talk about him, but so when he walked in, I'll never forget when he walked into our clinic, and this is how he looked. And I was very open with him, and I just told him that I didn't think he was quite ready for everything that we would have had to work with him on, and he could not have proved me wrong more. But just after 1 year, if you guys have not heard of this story, it is unbelievable. So Dan, after 1 year, so you can see like the significant change. But when you see these numbers, so he came in at 420. He ended at 223. We haven't seen him in a bit. I bet you he's still actively now. He's like really into kickboxing and things like that. But of his total weight, 230 pounds of that was just body fat, and now it's 46 pounds. So visceral fat went from 20 to 10, so he's like in an entirely healthy state. It's one of the most remarkable stories. It was a 200-pound weight loss in 1 year, so anything is possible. So in our particular 4-week HCG virtual program, some of the benefits to that is we're going to tell you, it's very structured. We're going to tell you what to eat, when to eat, and not only that, help you understand why the HCG diet is so powerful. You will become a fat burner, and we will teach you to continue to be a fat burner afterwards. We will help you with those behavioral and emotional type of lifestyle habits. And after the program, we're going to give you a maintenance plan, and then there's a 30-day, post HCG maintenance plan as well.